Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Amy, and today with the Heart to Chart Foundation series, we're so happy to have Clay Starlin with us. He's going to be talking to us today about mastery. Once again, we're so pleased to have you here, Clay, and take it away.
Thank you, Jonathan. This presentation is focused on offering a standard definition of mastery. Certainly when we're thinking of teaching students skills, one of the important questions is what skills we want them to master versus maybe just be aware of in this internet era. Lots of places you can just go find out information. Or for a student, we may actually just disregard information that we don't feel will be useful for them currently or in the future. So when we're thinking of being accountable in education, certainly we want precise standards, and the mastery criterion are really the pivotal component of each standard that tells us when a student has actually mastered the standard. Here's a quote from an article in Educational Leadership, which is the major journal of the Association for Curriculum and Supervision, which is one of the major educational organizations. The whole issue was devoted to mastery. And the quote from one of the articles, "Mastery is a term that all educators use and believe they understand well, but when pressed to describe precisely what it means to master a concept, skill, or subject, everyone has a different definition." So we can see if mastery is a critical aspect of determining when a student's mastered a standard. If we can't agree on what mastery means, we have a problem in our profession. So I tend to view mastery as something that is in our memory. And as Melody, a third grader, says, memory means it's stuck in our head. And that's how I view mastery. These are the things we want to be carrying around in our head versus being just aware of them. So we'd like to do an exercise to help you kind of experience what the elements of mastery are like. So if you'd please access your paper and pencil that we ask you to have prior to the presentation. So we'd like you to write the numerals from 0 to 9 over and over for 30 seconds. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and just keep repeating until the 30 seconds are expired. So I'll begin you. If you're ready, please begin. Please stop. Thank you. Now, please write the numerals 0 to 9 over and over again for 30 seconds, but this time use your non-preferred hand. If you're right-handed, use your left hand. If you're left-handed, use your right hand. Okay? If you're ready, please begin. Please stop. Thank you. If by chance you don't have full use of both hands, please pause the tape and read this slide. So here are the 3 elements of mastery that you just experienced. You can see the difference in the total number of responses over time. That's your pace. The difference in the correct responses over time versus your incorrect responses. So in this activity, your legibility, that's accuracy. And the difference in the smoothness of how the responses felt. So that's your rhythm. So the acronym we've been using to represent those elements are PAR, so pace, accuracy, and rhythm. So here's a common definition for those elements. So pace is to perform efficiently, not too fast or slow, but just right, so efficiently. Accuracy to perform correctly, and rhythm to perform smoothly. So the technical definition is pace is within a correct per minute range. Accuracy relates to only inconsistent error. Here's a summary of what we call educational vital signs. It shows some of the more critical areas that we use to define mastery. Let's look at this one with math computation. Sees problem, writes digits. So we use 100 to 80 digits correct per minute with only inconsistent error, and that's the mastery standard. Many people ask, well, what do you mean by inconsistent error? So here's an example in the math area. So here's an example of a student who had 4 opportunities to write the problem 8 times 7 and wrote 54 4 different times when they had that opportunity instead of 56. So that's an example of a consistent error. Here's Philip, a first grader who's writing their basic addition facts, and notice this problem here. 4 plus 1, he wrote a 6, but 4 other opportunities, this one, and this one, he wrote 4 plus 1 is 5. So out of 5 opportunities, he wrote 4 correctly. So that would be an example of inconsistent error. So to add the final aspect to the technical definition, rhythm would be 3 to 5 days at the pace and accuracy standard. So this would be our kind of technical definition of PAR mastery. Now, the majority of students can achieve PAR mastery if placed at developmentally appropriate skill chunk, although achieving mastery need not be at the same time frame, for instance, at the same grade level. For instance, driving requires a certain set of skills. Some people qualify for a license in 10 hours practice, others may take 20 or more hours. What you need to do doesn't vary. How long it takes you to become competent is what varies. Here's a quote from one of the students in my graduate education classes. Said, I totally agree with the logic of ordering math tasks and making sure that they master one concept before they move on to more complex tasks. I have begged that we throw out the scope and sequence we must follow and take time to build a solid base for these struggling math students. The response is that we must stay on the task with scope and sequence and teach only grade level content. A 5th grade teacher in Massachusetts. So what happens when you have a system that kind of focuses on exposure versus mastery is we get what I call a Swiss cheese repertoire. So we get students with holes in their skills. If you talk to any upper elementary, middle, or high school teacher, they'll tell you that they have kids that are coming through that don't have mastery of foundation and basic skills when they're trying to work at higher levels. So that's a major problem that we face in education in our country and around the world. So if we master basic skills, that'll give us the skills that we need to master content knowledge. If we master content knowledge, that'll give us the skills to handle mastery of real world skills. So here are a few summary thoughts. It's pretty critical that we agree on a definition of mastery in our profession of education. Mastery criteria are pivotal to decision making, to stay put, to change, or to move on. And learning basically is moving from mastery to non-mastery to mastery. So if we hope to personalize education, we need to follow student mastery, not the clock, not the calendar, or the curriculum. So thank you for watching. Here's some contact information if you have any questions.
Clay, that was terrific. Thank you so much for sharing that. So helpful. And of course, that exercise you did with the writing backwards, that was revealing. So appreciate that example, but great content. Thank you so much, Clay.
You're welcome.